Welcome back to another episode of the Humor Hustle. This episode is brought to you by Patriot Tire, your go-to one-stop shop for new and used tires. They also do minor repairs for cars, trucks, and semis. They're located in southern Utah, so head over to patriot-tire.com to find the best deals in town. And they also offer local and military discounts as well. So for today's episode, you probably have seen his face at some point. He doesn't really need much of an introduction, but I'll go ahead and let you introduce yourself to people that aren't aware with who you are.
All right. Well, thanks for having me on. I'm Peterson. I think people best know me as the guy who does stupid stuff to get out of his comfort zone. So for the last 2 years, I've been posting just my journey on social media of doing anything and everything to get out of my comfort zone to be the best version of myself.
Interesting. So explain this comfort zone, because I've heard people come on here before. They're like, oh, yeah, I do X, Y, Z to get out of my comfort zone. You said stupid stuff. In my head, I'm thinking, man, this guy's are you cliff diving? Are you just doing anything adrenaline filled, or what does that look like?
Yeah, so literally anything and everything that causes your insides to stir a little bit of just it doesn't sit well with me. Even when you don't think it's going to help you, it's still, I truly believe, if it makes you feel uncomfortable inside, it's going to help you. So when I say stupid stuff, I'm saying put a tarantula on my face, or playing stink pong, it getting hit in the back. Those are things that don't have any scientific evidence or reason that it would help you. But anytime that you can get out of your comfort zone, you're teaching yourself to do things even when you don't want to do them. And it just helps you to have more discipline and just betters off your life in every aspect.
And so was this something that you had somewhat of an issue with in the past? So you're saying you want to get out of your comfort zone, but at any point in time, was it ever something that genuinely scared you, and that's why you said, okay, the switch needs to flip, and then I need to do something different?
Yeah, I would say all my life I've been good at overcoming fears and getting out of my comfort zone just on a normal basis. But there was a point in my life, it happened 2.5 years ago, when I was dang, when I was thinking about what I wanted to achieve in life, I was if I want to get to where I want to be, I cannot let my fears consume me, and I need to conquer doing things even when I don't want to do them. Mm-hmm. And that's what led me into just doing everything and anything to overcome my fears. And that way, whenever now I'm presented with any sort of fear or anything that will make me uncomfortable, it's I'm familiar with it, and it's all right, let's do it. And that's how I'm going to get to where I want to be.
And the things you were saying that you said were stupid things, like putting the tarantula on your face or playing stink pong. Even though stuff like that doesn't necessarily have evidence that it's going to help you with anything else, I still feel as long as you're facing something that in the moment scares you, then it's going to open up doors to other things. And there's a saying that says, our sorry.
That's the saying?
Yeah, that's the saying. It said, the fears we don't face are our limits. Yeah. So at some point, there's going to be a ceiling if you don't face stuff that's actively scaring you. So I think it's important to go outside of what you would consider comfortable, because whatever scenario it is, it doesn't have to directly tie into another thing that you're scared about. But as long as you can at least jump through one hoop at a time, then you're going to eventually get to a point where you're comfortable being in a place that beforehand you were uncomfortable doing.
100%.
You know who it kind of reminds me of? I'm sure you're familiar, David Goggins.
I love him.
The guy that's just he's always the guy that's pushing his limits. He's shit, man, what can make me more uncomfortable, right? And so obviously, I don't know if you're doing it on maybe a physical scale. Maybe you are, but correct me if I'm wrong. It seems like you maybe mastered the ability to be as soon as I have the feeling of something that's uncomfortable, I just fucking do it. Is that kind of what you think you've achieved at this point? Or?
Yeah, it's kind of a blessing and a curse at the same time, because I have this motto in my head that the best time to do something is when you least want to do it.
Oh,
so it's you can go to bed and be I'm gonna wake up tomorrow early, but then when you wake up, you're no longer motivated to wake up, and it's that moment you really don't want to get about it. That's the moment when you need to do it. You could have a goal to go to the gym every single day. There's gonna come a day when you don't want to go. That is the best time to go to the gym. Even if your workout isn't as efficient as your other ones, the moment when you don't want to do something is the best time to do it, because that's when you're training your brain to do things even when you don't want to do it. So anytime there's anything that's oof, that's uncomfortable, I'm freak, now I gotta do it.
So psychologically, how does one train their brain to do it? I mean, I've read books like Atomic Habits, by James Clear, phenomenal book. But, you get this cycle. How have you found ways to successfully train your brain to just be that instantaneous, all right, not wanting to do it, but I'm doing it. Like,
Yeah.
how do you get to that point?
Yeah, so getting out of the comfort zone helps you like increase your confidence and increase your discipline. And the cool thing about those two qualities is it's not something that is given, it's something that's learned and earned. And so the only way to develop confidence and the only way to develop discipline is by doing things that you don't want to do. And so like how can one do things when they don't want to do them is you have to just start small. Like do this, whatever it is that makes you uncomfortable, just start super small. Once you do it, you realize like, okay, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Like something I've learned from getting out of the comfort zone is being uncomfortable is never as bad, nor does it last as long as your brain makes it out to be. Mm-hmm. And so anytime you're presented with something uncomfortable, your brain like is like, whoa, stop, like this is uncomfortable. But if you can just do it, then all of a sudden when you're done, you're like, okay, that wasn't that bad. Like I imagine your first time doing this podcast, it's probably like a little nerve-wracking. You're like, holy cow, this is scary.
Yeah, a little bit.
We love you, Pierce, but that's on us, man. Our first episode wasn't
So
fantastic.
have you heard of, do you know Pierce Smith? Pierce Smith lifts?
I don't think so.
He's a gym influencer, but
Okay.
he was the first one we had on, and yeah, we had that one was a little bit scripted. We printed out a paper that had all the questions we wanted to ask, and in post it looks so awkward because I'd ask a question, then I just slide the paper over to him so he could ask the next one.
But I imagine you guys felt like those nerves before, right?
Oh yeah,
And
for sure.
after,
100%.
was it like, okay, like we did it, like it wasn't as bad, like this next one's gonna be a little bit better?
Yeah.
The more you do something, the more you can do it over and over and over, the more like you're like, okay, like I can do this. So to answer your question, just keep doing things just little by little, and you'll realize like, okay, being uncomfortable is not that bad.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I feel like if more people could figure out how to master that one singular aspect of life, I mean, just imagine if everyone went into life and everything they did with zero fear. Or maybe there's fear, but they just have the ability to conquer it now.
100%.
That would be crazy, man. Imagine where we'd be.
It would be crazy.
You can still be scared of something, but even
Yes.
faking it will get you a lot farther than not even
1000%.
trying it at all.
Which we're good at is faking it, if you can't tell.
100%. Dude, I'm right there with you. People are like, dang, you just like don't feel fear anymore. Like nothing makes you uncomfortable. It's like, no, like I still feel it. I just now know how to cope with it, and now I know how to like handle it and do it regardless of that feeling.
Right.
Yeah.
So at what point, though, does it come too far? Like, let's say you have a fear of getting bit by a venomous snake. Are you just gonna like bite yourself? Like, see, like where do you draw a line on this, or is there? one?
So no, there's definitely a line. Like if it's going to cause you more harm than good. Like for example, one of the ones I wanted to do was like pull an all-nighter.
Yeah.
And just not sleep. But then like when I really think about it, it's like when you pull an all-nighter, like there's so many studies that talk about like how like your testosterone drops, like how like it affects your hormones, and it like has like long-term effects. And it's like, okay, I don't think doing this challenge would actually give more benefit than not. It's like letting a venomous snake bite you would definitely harm you more than it would help you.
Well, because I mean, your last name's Peterson. I thought of like Coyote Peterson, where he like will like have things bite him. I'm like, I always watch this video. I'm like, dude, what the hell are you doing? Like, what benefit does that give you?
The no sleep thing is definitely not great. I did it all the time when I was in high school, and I didn't do it for a challenge. I was just whatever it was, whether I was out all night or I just was playing Warzone or something. But like looking back at it now, it was rough, dude. The whole because not only does it affect the next day, it affects like your whole mindset for the week. I feel
For
like
sure,
anytime I stayed up past, because I would pretty regularly not go to sleep until 2 or 3 in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And after doing that for 3 months straight, the presuming 9 months were like awful just because of a short span of a consistent cycle. But
That's interesting.
I wasn't a huge fan of that.
So one thing I want to try to do, if you're cool with this, now that we've kind of got on this topic, I want to see if we can all get vulnerable with each other and see what is something right now, and we'll go through the line, each of us are scared of, and what we have to do right now to like overcome it. Mm-hmm. So since you're an expert at this, we'll start with you.
Okay. Well, this was just on my mind. I'm sure I could come up with a ton of things. I mean, I've literally a list of like hundreds of things to get out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
The first thing that came to my mind when you asked that last question was something that's really hard for me is like inconveniencing people, or like anytime someone is like sad, mad, hurt, and it's my fault. Like it's really hard for me, which is good, but it can also be bad. Like if someone like does me wrong, like I sometimes can be too quick to apologize.
Like a nice guy.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry, it doesn't like sounds like a good thing, like I'm flexing, but no, it's like it is a bad thing to be too nice at times. And so I've like thought like, what can I do to overcome that? But I'm not gonna go and like inconvenience people intentionally and make them mad at me. But it's just something that's always on my mind, where if there is a point where I need to like stand up for myself, it's like, all right, Kade, this is your moment now, like that you're presented with a situation. It's not something I can seek, but something that just happens. So like I got my oil changed the other day and they like broke something in my car and they weren't going to pay for it. And so like something like that, where it's like someone could easily be like, oh, okay, like thanks, bye, I'll take care of it. Yeah. But it's like, no, this is where I need to like stick up for myself. And I was like, no, like you guys broke it. I'm just kind of like, laying the law down a little bit and just kind of being upfront. So that's something that I'm currently working on, is just like not being afraid to inconvenience people, if that makes sense. Does this make sense?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. In fact, what I want you to do is I want you to look at Garrett, call him a bitch, and then don't apologize for it. No, I'm just kidding.
I can take it.
No, I'm just kidding. But no, that makes sense. It's like, I mean, I feel like a lot of people, maybe not even just yourself, that they go out there and they're people pleasers, right?
Yeah.
There's a book called No More Mr. Nice Guy. I don't know if you've read it, but I'd recommend it to you. Cool. Go check it out and read it. It talks about ways you can still stand up for yourself and not necessarily be this nice guy, but at the same time not be like an asshole, right?
Yeah.
So I think that could be something beneficial. But no, man, I appreciate you getting vulnerable. Like that takes a lot of courage for stuff like that. So
I appreciate it.
Now you get vulnerable.
No, it's your turn.
It's my turn?
Yeah, I'm still thinking.
So mine, I'm currently still working on it, but I feel like it's more of a general thing for a lot of people, but I still somewhat have a little bit of a fear of failure. And I think that's kind of a common thing, but from my shoes, I was talking to you about this yesterday. I've tried to start things before with certain people, and so when I was at the end of high school, I started a podcast with my brother that we did for like a month, and then he was like, I just don't have the time to do it anymore. And so I was like, okay. And then about a year later, I contacted another friend that lived out of state, and I was like, you want to do a digital one? We can do it on this thing called Squadcast. And he's like, yeah, man, I'm down. We planned the whole thing. We maybe only filmed 2 episodes, and then he's like, man, I just don't want to do this anymore. So after kind of this repetitive thing, I was left somewhat thinking that it was my fault somehow. It's like I was never the one that didn't follow through, but somehow it ended up not working because of somebody else saying no, and it made me think that, what could I have done differently to get past that, or what could I have done differently to make it go better. And I think that's kind of a thing that a lot of people face, is a fear of failure, but you're not going to get very far if you're afraid of failing, because a lot of people don't succeed until they failed multiple times.
Right. They have to fall on their face at least. I mean, you probably know this a million times before something actually works.
Yeah, and so now I feel like I've been working on it a little bit, because I've been in the content creation space for a couple years. I took a little bit of a break because it was hard to balance college with that, and then my grades were dropping a little lower than I would like them to be, and I was like, okay, maybe I need to pause doing the TikTok thing. But now I've gotten to a point where I've kind of built my personal brand up to a point where I'm saying, okay, now it's fine to start finally trying to actually go towards something else or achieve something else, because I've proven through my own work and by myself that maybe it wasn't my fault. Maybe I just needed to find better people to be around, or maybe I needed to have a better mindset going into it. But once I kind of accomplished these little side goals that I had set for myself, then I was like, okay, I can venture into different things and not be scared of what people think, because obviously there's going to be a lot of, even for you, I mean, the following you have, doesn't matter what you do, whether it's positive or negative. We talked about this yesterday. Even like Mr. Beast, he'll go and build 100 homes, and then someone will say, why didn't you build 200? That's kind of rude. Like, no matter what you do, somebody's going to hate on anything that you're doing.
100%.
Yeah.
Do you have enough time to think about it?
So yeah, moving on. So I don't know. I think for me, I'll get real vulnerable. My fear is I have such high expectations of myself, and anytime those don't come to fruition maybe as quick as I want, like my wife calls me out every time, and man, I freaking love her for this, but she'll often be like, man, Parker, you're not 50. Stop trying to act like you're 50. Stop trying to wish you were 50 years old. Your goals and dreams will come, but not if you keep acting the way that you are. So my fear is letting go of those expectations of myself, because in my head it makes me feel like I'm letting go of my dreams, even though I'm not like my 50-year-old self yet, right? And we talked about this. Garrett called me out yesterday. He's like, dude, you compare yourself a lot. And I'm pretty guilty of that. So, if I'm being real honest and vulnerable, like I got to figure out how to not compare myself, let those fears drop, stop in my head trying to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak, on a mental aspect. But yeah, I mean, it's something I've struggled with for a while, and I'm trying to figure out ways I can do it. And I mean, dude, you've got a list of 100 fears. Maybe you figured out something that I haven't and that maybe you could teach, but I don't know.
Well, first of all, I think what you guys shared is you guys aren't alone, and it's something that like I felt. I think a lot of the viewers have felt. Something I'd say with what you just shared is I think it's like a blessing and a curse, and I feel like it's the same for you. Like you want to be the best version of yourself, but also like it can be overbearing where it's going to have a negative impact on you. Right. And I've felt that exact same thing, and I still feel guilty of that sometimes. Something that I always try and tell myself, and when I do feel that, is the only person I should ever compare myself to is who I was yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm content with my life, but not satisfied.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, if you are constantly looking at like where you want to be and you don't enjoy this moment, you'll get to where you want to be and you'll look back and be like, dang, those are good days. Like, why didn't I enjoy it? And so I always like plead to people, like, enjoy today. Like, you will never get back today. We are in the good days right now, and one day you'll look back and make those are good days. So as long as you're better than you were yesterday, like you're making progress. And then I loved yours as well, because like I resonate with both of you guys' failure and being the best version of yourself. Something I've always tried to do is to fail cheap and fail fast. And I'm grateful for every single one of my failures, because like when I look back at all my failures, like in the moment, it's like, dang, this sucks. But it's like, I wouldn't go back and change any of those failures, because that's what made me who I am. Yeah. Like this whole comfort zone journey kind of started with a breakup. And like in the moment, I was just like, oh man, this sucks, like failure again. But then it's just like, all right, I failed. What do I need to do now? And then it's just like, I need to become the best version of my freaking self. And that's what I'm going to do. And so it is scary to fail, but there's no one that has succeeded in life that has got to where they've gotten without failure. And so I see failure as a blessing. And so I've kind of switched my mindset with failure, and I'm grateful for it.
Yeah, and crazy. I think especially for all of us looking back now, in the moment that you fail at whatever you're doing, of course, in that moment it's going to suck. But when you make it past that and get to a different level of your life, you're always going to look back and say, this opportunity I have now probably never would have happened unless 100%. I failed at this point. Or this job I got, whatever it was, this company that I started, anything, whatever it might be, none of that, it's likely would have ever happened if you hadn't already experienced some sort of failure. And I kind of want to transition a little bit into social media, because that's what you're centered around. And I know it is it's about 50-50. There's a lot of positives. There's a lot of negatives. Obviously, a positive for you is you're able to share your message with a lot of people. But what does that look like on a day-to-day basis from somebody? Like how many? I'm sure you get a lot of DMs. I'm sure you get a lot of people saying, man, you really made my day a lot better, or you really pushed me to do this, or I'm sure you've gotten a couple DMs of people just hating, whatever it might be. You eventually get to a point where you're going to see it from both sides, but what does that daily basis kind of look like from you?
Yeah, man, where do I begin?
You've never had hate, I'm sure.
Never. Nobody ever gets hate.
No, I love it. Well, let's come back to the hate, and I'll start with like kind of sharing the day-to-day of social media. So I've been doing social media for 5 years. I've tried different avenues of social media. It all started with dancing on TikTok, back when like TikTok wasn't cool, and I wore a mask because I was scared about what people would think about me, believe it or not. I love dancing. If anyone has seen my content, they'll know I love dancing, and I loved kind of the concept of TikTok. But everyone's like, "Oh, that's so crazy! It's like a social media for dancing." And I was like, I kind of want to do it. And so I wore a mask and I did all these like dancing videos, and I had I used like a fake name, and I did that for a while, and then kind of stopped, did social media for like my business, stopped, and I kind of like just tried and failed at different things. And then it was 2.5 years ago that I was like, all right, I kind of have this following. I'm gonna just do comfort zone stuff and become the best version of myself. And I was like, should I share this on social media? And I was like, yeah, like I think this would like help with my main goal in life of helping people to become the best versions of themselves. And I was like, this would be great to document. So I started documenting it. It hasn't been like a job or an income stream really. It's more been just a passion project. And I think now that I've kind of grown to where I am now, I could 100% like make this like a full-time thing, but I still have a lot of things in my life that I want to do as well, so like I'm kind of balancing it all. So day to day, I kind of just like I should be more consistent, but it's not a job, and so it's not like I have to do this every single day. Once a year, I do the uncomfortable 30. I'm not sure if you guys saw that or know what that is.
Maybe explain for our viewers what that is.
Yeah, so the uncomfortable 30 is something I created, and is what started my whole comfort zone journey, which is where I did one thing every day to get out of my comfort zone in every aspect, physical, emotional, spiritual, mental, whatever it was. Got out of my comfort zone every single day for 30 days. So during those challenges, like I'm posting every day. And then during like, I've done other series and stuff, like I'm posting every day, but it's kind of just like figuring out what's best for me, what is going to help me grow, and then documenting it along the way. So,
it's like 75 hard, but for the brain.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
So what does the bigger picture look like for you? When you're 70, sitting on a porch swing, what's the one thing you're going to look back on and say, man, like I did that?
Yeah. So what keeps me going with sharing my stuff on social media is the DMs that I get every day from people saying, hey, like, I appreciate the message you're sharing. I did this today. Like, I never thought I could do this, but I did this. And just seeing the positive impact that doing stupid stuff is having on other people is what keeps me going. And so like my like motive is to help as many people be the best version of themselves through getting out of the comfort zone, because I don't think you can be the best version of yourself unless you get out of the comfort zone. Now with that, like you said, you're gonna get hate. Any person that is in social media in long term will see hate. It does not matter what niche you're in, you will get hate. And at first it was like, dang, like why are people hating me? It kind of affected me.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
Like, I mean, two parts. No one's gonna hate unless like. No one that is doing better than you is going to hate on you. Mm-hmm. And so, like, people find fulfillment in bringing other people down is really sad to me. So, like, when I see hate, it, like, makes me sad that, like, they feel the need to bring someone else down to find gratification in their life. So that makes me sad. But the other part of it is I like, am not affected by hate anymore. And I kind of enjoy it because virality. Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna get along good because anyway, keep going.
Because like some of my most viral like content, there's some sort of hate, and then there's like people commenting on that hate, like defending me, and then there's just these like comment wars, and I'm like, yeah, freaking bring on the engagement, like.
Oh, that's the best, dude. When someone starts something in the comments, and then you have people defending it, and then they just tag off of each other. I just sit, like, if it ever happens to me, I just sit back and I'm like, yeah, man, boost that engagement.
I mean, I'll stand behind it. I've been saying it for the past 3 episodes. I want you to start fights in the comments, please. Please tell me how bad I'm doing. Like, I'm like welcoming it. Like,
I love it.
Everyone that's like come onto the podcast, they've said, yeah, man, just wait for the hate. And so ever since that, I've literally just been like asking for hate. Like, it sounds weird, but I really want people to just start.
I used to have my roommate, like, every time I'd post, I'd text him, and he would go in and hate on, like, he created like a burner account and go in and hate, and then people would like like roast him.
No way.
And just like to help with engagement, I would be like, hey, go hate on my post. Like I would, yeah, it's good.
Did that marketing actually kind of work in a way?
I mean, I don't know like how well it worked, but I mean, it got people to comments. Like anytime you can get any sort of engagement, it's a pro.
Dude,
so.
yeah. Any publicity 100%. Is good publicity,
yeah.
No matter if the comments are good or bad. And that's why a lot of accounts that are called something cringe get so much traction, is because almost every single comment is like, what did I just watch? But there's so much negativity that it makes the account itself a positive thing.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter what you say, but any comment that you leave on any form of social media, whether that's TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, whatever it may be, it's automatically going to boost any sort of engagement. So it's almost like people are asking for it at this point.
So with that being said, I have a challenge for our listeners. I want you to go down in this video right now. I want you to leave the most hateful comment you can think of. You can Garrett towards myself, be like, man, he is the ugliest motherfucker I've ever seen on the planet. I don't care what it is. Blow it up with hate. I don't know. I really want to.
We welcome the hate.
Yeah. So bring it on is what I'm going.
One thing I will say with the hate is, you do have to be like rooted in who you are. Yeah. Because it can mess with you, and it did when I first started. But like now that like I've gotten to where I am, I know exactly who I am. I know my worth. I know my value. And when people try and like make these claims about me that I know aren't true, it's like I don't care. You say what you want. I know who I am. I'm not letting your opinion determine my life. I'm going to live my life the way I want to and not give a crap about what other people.
Yeah. And I mean, as long as you know it stems from envy, like you said, I thought that was super cool. You said nobody will hate, and nobody that's doing better than you will hate on anything that you're doing, because they're at a point where they're above just caring about anything that happens below them, whether that's from a monetary standpoint or just a brand or a business that they've created. But 99% of the time, anyone that leaves any sort of hate comment towards somebody is directed at someone who at their current position is above the level of the position that the other person is in.
Right, like you said, no one's ever going to hate if you know they're doing better than you, right? Like no one's ever going to do that.
So it's as long as you can get to the point mentally where you're like, okay, I received this comment. You just told me without even telling me that I'm doing better than you are currently. so it's easy. Like for me at first, like you said, when people started leaving, because I started TikTok in 2019 when it wasn't cool to have one.
There we go.
And I was still I was a senior in high school at that point. So people
he wasn't dancing though.
I wasn't dancing. I
wasn't
can't do
dancing.
that. I can't do that.
Singing was actually his thing.
What?
Wasn't it singing?
Come on,
No, a little
get
bit.
uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Give us a no. Give us a no. Real
Yeah,
quick.
It
us a
actually
no.
wasn't though. I don't know why you said that.
I was just messing with you.
Yeah, no, I did like comedy skits back when it was the thing to take a trending sound and then you make a skit that goes to like the drop of the sound, or something like that. But when I first started, I was still a senior in high school. So if anybody in the high school saw my account, they're like, "Bro, really? You have a TikTok?" I'm like, "Hey, man, just trust. It's gonna be cool." But looking back at it now, that's actually the best part. Is so by the time I left high school, I'd only had maybe a couple thousand on TikTok. And then once I got to the point where I was up over anywhere between 50 and 100,000, the same people that were saying, "Bro, why do you have a TikTok?" were also the ones messaging saying, "Hey, man, you got a lot of followers now. I just got into TikTok recently. You want to do a video?" And I'm like, "No, you said it was stupid. Why would I lower the level that I'm at to match you and right after you said that what I was doing was cringy at the time." But I'd get comments in the beginning that would hate on something that I was doing, and I wouldn't just delete the comment. I'd delete the whole video, because at first it did affect me. I would wipe the whole video, even if it was doing good.
I'll say it again. He's soft.
I'm soft,
heard this story
man.
100 times. He's
I'm
just
soft.
Hey, I'm with you, bro. I used to delete
The
comments
first-
too. Like, hey, no, yeah,
And it's better. You're better off leaving comments there anyways, because at the end of the day, every comment you delete, you're ruining your engagement. But I would physically delete the video. Like the first video I remember that I had gotten over 100,000 views, I deleted it because I saw like 10 straight comments of whatever negativity that it was, and I just completely disregarded the 300 or 400 comments that were like the laughing emoji or whatever, like, "This is so funny." I would only focus on the 10, and I'm like, damn, that really got me, and so I deleted the whole video. But looking back at it now, that was the fear. I wasn't leaving my comfort zone of, because when you're that age, you just assume the high school age, you solely go based off of what people think about you. And that's the most important thing to you at the time is, "Oh, I don't want to do this because I'm scared of what people are going to think about me," because that's just the teenage mindset. But so my life has gotten so much better just ignoring.
I'm excited to see this collab where he does the dancing and you do the comedy skit. That's what I'm excited for.
I guess I did do a comfort zone thing. Senior year of high school, I did stand-up comedy in the talent show.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, dude. But yeah, I did stand-up comedy in high school, and that was already somewhat of a hurdle because there's a lot of things that you can't talk about. Like, you have to keep it not even PG-13, you have to keep it PG. And so when I did the little audition thing, they came back and they're like, "Yeah, half the stuff in there you can't even use." And I was like, "What?" And I didn't even think it was anything bad, but that's something that I can proudly say I did, because now I was standing in front of an auditorium that had 200-300 people in it, and every time before that I was absolutely petrified of being the center of attention, and that was kind of my moment of, I'm done caring what people think. And that came out of, I didn't tell my parents, I didn't tell my friends, I didn't tell anybody that I was doing it. I just came home from school one day, I'm like, "Hey, Mom, you want to go to the talent show?" And she just assumed I was going to, because I've been playing the guitar for like 10, 12 years. She's like, oh, you playing a song on your guitar? And I
I
was
told
like,
you he
nope.
was a singer. I told you. Didn't I say that?
I was like, nope. And then she showed up, and then I just walked out there with a mic and just started
Making people laugh.
doing my set. And
Did people laugh?
They did. I have the video on my phone saved still.
That's amazing.
There's some chuckles in there.
That's crazy.
But that, for me, I wouldn't go back and change anything, because now where I'm at, I don't know if I ever would have been in the position I'm in now had I not just finally kicked that and got over it. And that's why I think it's so important to just stare fear right in the face and be like, I'm done, dude.
So speaking of positions, what's your favorite? No, I'm totally kidding. I just had to throw that in there.
That's a great
Great segue.
Yeah.
No, I anytime I see a chance, I take it. But no, so I'm curious though, as far as the scariest things that you've accomplished. I mean, you said you've had this list out. On this list, is there still like a number one fear that you have, or I guess what is the biggest fear that you've overcome? I'm curious, like what that's been, and I want all the details.
The scariest thing that I could tell you, like, what the hardest thing has been.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, there's a difference between, like, the physical, the mental, emotional. It's like physically, my 1,000 pull-up challenge, like, definitely was, like, my most uncomfortable challenge. It took 8 hours.
Jeez.
And it's like hands are bleeding. Like halfway through, I'm like, I can't do this. And so, anyways, that one was insane. But something that David Goggins teaches is the callous mind. I don't know if you've ever heard of the callous mind, which is like when you can do hard things and come out on top, all of a sudden, like, next time you're presented with a hard situation, it's like, okay, I've done this. Like, if I did this, I can do this. Like, anytime I'm doing any sort of physical challenge now, it's like, all right, I did 8 hours of pull-ups. Like, I can do this. So, like, my most recent physical challenge was I ran 40 miles to celebrate 400K followers. I'm not like a runner, so like I'm not like, for some people, like that's not too bad, but like I was not trained to do that, and I did it in 24 hours. And at like mile 13, I'm like injured my ankle, and I'm like, I can't do this. Like, there's no way. But it's just like, all right, I've done this. Like, I know what this discomfort is like. I can push through it, and went through with it.
That's crazy. In fact, I'm gonna put Garrett and I on the spot. If we get to 100,000 subscribers, Garrett and I will run 100 miles.
100 miles.
Yes, we can do it.
Garrett sounds like he's on board with that.
Did you see how uncomfortable he got?
So
just
here's
now?
the deal. Here,
I just got scared
right?
too, but
I would say I'm an Olympic expert in the art of walking, but
it'll happen. 100 miles will happen.
Yeah,
100 miles, dude.
If we get 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, I will run 100 miles.
Put a deadline though.
Yeah.
Or is it just saying at any point in your life, if you get 100,000 subscribers, you're gonna do it?
I think at any point.
I think at any point.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
If we reach 100K subs on YouTube,
Yeah.
we will document running 100 miles.
And my balls absolutely just dropped to the floor. I'm
Yeah.
terrified.
So I'm not
You
sure
guys-
why
you
you
guys run?
started that.
Like, are you
No.
No.
I go to
don't
the
know.
gym and I
That's
don't
about
run.
it. So
Have you guys ever ran a marathon?
No.
I think the most I've ever done was a 5K.
Well, here's the deal. I did the 5K at Eagle Crest Elementary, and I did pretty good for myself.
Dude, all the runners that are listening right now are just like, no shot.
No shot.
I'll do it. I'll do
like I
it.
said, bring on the hate. I want to see it. So
Yeah, I didn't say there's a timetable
I'll
of
be
when
your
I'll do
first
it.
hater.
but-
yeah, no, do it. I want you to get there. Cade's just gonna blow it up, man.
What's
These guys ain't doing it.
do we have to have a set amount of time we have to get it accomplished in, or
I don't think so. I'll run 100K. I don't care if it takes me 7 days.
a week?
Yeah,
Give us a week. We'll run 100 miles.
That's
We'll do it.
crazy. I
but
like it.
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I
No,
just had to
you're
throw
good.
that out there. I was scared to say it. So.
No, that's
See,
great.
that was
I'm
instant
all
fear
about it.
for me, dude.
Oh yeah.
I saw the look on your face. I was about to like
I didn't
have a
enjoy.
slow-mo of his reaction.
I didn't
right there.
appreciate when he said it, but now I'm like, yeah, you know what? That is something that I'm absolutely petrified about.
Now we're gonna have to train for it. So
It's fun when you guys like reach milestones. I think it's fun to do like celebrations like that. So like anytime I hit a milestone, I do some sort of comfort zone challenge. I actually just
That's
hit
so cool.
500K, and I'm like trying to figure out what I should do. Do you guys have any ideas of what I should do?
500K. So what'd you do? Do you do it like every 100K? Is that kind of your thing?
Yeah, I mean, as of recently, yeah, that's what I've been doing.
So what'd you do for your 100, 200, 300? And maybe we'll help you with
100, I did. I lifted 100,000 pounds, like in a workout.
Oh,
So I did like 100 sets of squats of 135 pounds, 100 sets of bench press, 135 pounds, 100 sets, and like just
Continuous.
did like no, like 10 sets of 10.
Okay.
And just did like, I was at the gym for like 3 hours just putting up weight until I got to 100,000 pounds. At 200, what did I do? I know I did something for 200. I can't even remember. I have to go look at my Instagram. I do so much stuff I can't even remember.
I have an idea.
All right, let's hear it.
For 500K?
Yeah.
Already?
Well, let me preface. Are you single?
I am single.
Okay. I'm offering
Offering?
to even potentially film this for you. You should document getting 50 different women's number by doing a pickup line in public.
That is good.
That's pretty good.
I would say 500, but that's a lot.
500 is a lot.
500 is a lot.
But yeah, that'd be fun. I'd watch that.
Yeah, it
Document
would be good.
50 successful,
comfort
because
zone.
that's a comfort zone thing.
Yeah.
You've already been on a dating show.
I have been on a dating show.
Or it's, I mean, yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
He told me before. He told me while you were
Oh.
in the bathroom.
Was it? Okay, pause. I kind of want to know
Yeah.
now.
But I want to hear the rest of these first, and then we'll go into that. So 100K, you did this.
I
200K.
remember I did 200K. I know when I did got 200K on TikTok, I did some sort of like workout where I did like 200 sets of squat, 200 sets of like pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 200 sit-ups, and like 200
Levels.
levels. Yeah.
Stair climbers.
Yeah, stair climbers.
What's the bigger platform right now, TikTok or YouTube?
So I actually lost my TikTok last year. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Oh, dang.
Did you get banned
I
or
got
something?
banned. I was literally just scrolling TikTok and then just like got a notification your account's been permanently deleted.
He was breaking the matrix. They
Did
got
you
mad.
try and put in a request to
Yeah,
like, and they no response, huh?
I've hired people. I've gone through so many avenues to try to get it back, but I lost it. And I used to only be on TikTok. So this is a great example. So this is like segueing far away from where we just were. This is a great example of how failure has blessed me. So this was literally a year ago. A year ago from like right now is end of July when I lost it.
And what did you have
I
following?
had 380,000 followers. And
Yeah.
that was only on TikTok. It wasn't on Instagram, wasn't on YouTube, wasn't on anything. And I lost it and I was like trying to get it back. And then I was like, dude, you know what? Maybe social media just isn't for me. Like maybe I should just take this as a sign. Like I should just focus on my businesses. I should just do this. And then like 3 months later, I like still hadn't gotten it back. And I was like, dude, you know what? Like if I want to do what I want to do in my life and help people, I need a platform to do it. And I was like, I kind of had my content separated from my personal life. So Instagram was like my personal life with my family and friends. TikTok was like my content. And then I was like, if I'm gonna live according to who I am, I gotta not care what people think and post on my Instagram.
Yeah.
So I started from scratch in November. So that's like what, 9 months ago, 10 months ago. Good at math.
Math is hard.
I created a brand new TikTok, brand new YouTube, and started posting on my Instagram and started in November. And I started with sharing like some of my viral content from TikTok, just repurposed it and kind of just started taking off little by little. And so yeah, in the last 9 months, I've grown to over 1 million followers across all platforms just because I decided, you know, I'm not going to let this failure get to me. I'm not going to care what people think. They took away everything from me, but they didn't take away what I've learned. So I'm restarting and I'm gonna do it. And so at the end of the day, I'm very grateful for my TikTok ban because I wouldn't be where I'm at without it. But in that moment, it was like the worst thing ever. 4 years down the drain.
Yes.
And now I'm just super grateful.
No, and that's what I don't think a lot of people realize. They're saying, oh, well, I mean, that's not too bad. You lost your TikTok. But I don't think a lot of people understand that there was years of content that went into that. I got mine banned probably a year and a half ago, and it just said your account has been permanently deleted. And then when you can go in and put like a request or ask why, I didn't get a response for like 2 months, and then I finally got an email saying we made a mistake, and then they gave it back. But I don't know how they're just fine with doing that, because nothing that I had posted, I read over the guidelines because I know they're super strict about the type of content you can't use and the type of content you can use. But I looked over those, read over those, went through all my videos. I'm like, nothing on here goes against any single guideline that you have. And I was like,
relate.
why? Why? Like I didn't understand why they took it away. But also having the opportunity to have it back for you. I'm sure looking back at it now, obviously it sucks and a lot of work went down the drain and you didn't even do anything wrong. But had that not happened, like you said, you probably wouldn't have gotten that extra drive to push even farther and get back to where you were previously and even go above that. But for me, I was at 100,000 at the time that I got mine taken down, but it hurts, man.
Yeah.
Like it cuts deep because
Yes.
I was like, there goes 2.5 years of decently consistent posting, and I finally was at a point where I was in the algorithm, if that's what you want to call it. But every video I was posting was bare minimum 20,000 views at the time, which was pretty decent.
That's
but
great.
yeah, I was right at the peak of where you would call the hitting the algorithm, and then it all just got stripped away, and then it kind of felt like I just had a heart attack. I was like,
I would be absolutely devastated if my Instagram account with 800 followers got taken down. I would be
that's you, Parker.
just that.
You've been grinding since
That's what I'm
2016
saying.
on that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All my family and friends would have to re-add. That'd be tough.
But no, yeah, for me, for it to hurt that bad, I can only imagine what it felt for you, because 100,000, sure, that's a decent number, but that I felt like my life kind of ended a little bit after that.
I cried. I'll admit, I cried.
Really?
I mean,
would
and
too.
like people like me, like, oh, he's crying over a TikTok account, but no, dude, it was part of my I feel like part of like my identity almost. Like I had 4 years of just posting,
Right.
creating so much content,
Jeez.
and also it's crazy. It's like uplifting content too. It's like content I'm trying to help people, and so there's crazy stuff on TikTok. There's like half naked.
There's
people.
there's a lot worse on
Yeah,
there
for
that
real.
So
doesn't
it's
get
like,
taken down.
This is what gets
Well,
taken down.
And I mean, I know we're really off on a side tangent now, but like, I'm just curious. Like, do you think in a way, like TikTok almost wants to keep the toxic content out?
Dude, I've thought about that.
You know what I mean? Because like I've noticed, like if you look at algorithms and For You pages, I can't say how many times I'll be scrolling through them like, damn, here's another chick and like, you know, on
Yeah.
the beach doing whatever, her little dance or whatever. And then even if I try to like invent my algorithm and
Yeah.
the type of content I want to see,
Yeah.
it'll still find its way through.
It's crazy.
I'm like, are they purposely doing it to keep people down? I don't
Crazy.
know. But
Yeah, I don't want to believe that that's the case, but yeah, there's some crazy stuff on the platform.
It seems like, yeah, I was watching this crazy YouTube video. It was something, but it was talking about the TikTok untouchables, that pretty much people that started from the very beginning that have now gotten, you're talking people like Kade Lame and Charlie D'Amelio and everybody that's got like millions and millions, right? And they're saying that there was this theory that they had these people that they set aside as the untouchables, to where no matter what they did, no matter what they posted, they'd be locked in because they brought the company so much money that
Wow.
it's not worth deleting their account over. And then he showed up these two statistics of, because I'm sure this is the same for you, but it feels like for me, at least in 2019, 2020, maybe 2021, getting followers was a lot easier than
Yeah.
it is now. The videos that I had previously, I'd get 20,000 followers from one video. And so that I had a video that did 6.2 million, I think, and I got like 22,000 followers from that one video. A year and a half later, I had a video do 6.5 million followers, and I got like 2,000.
6.5 million followers.
Or sorry, 6.5 million views.
I was like,
Jeez, bro.
No, I'm not like that.
You are
Not
one of the
like that.
untouchables, bro. What are you talking
I'm
about?
not like that. So 6.5 million views and only 2,000 followers from that one video. And argumentatively, I thought that this one was a lot funnier, in my opinion, than the other one. But he had this whole breakdown of like, if you compare 2022 to 2024 and 2019 to 2021, the engagement and the follow rate was much higher when it first started. But he had this whole breakdown, and he's like, now it seems like it's to a point where if you're a new creator, it's a lot harder to get to the numbers that you want to see than it was several years ago, because they've set aside these people as like untouchables, or someone that's bound to show up in your For You page no matter who you follow, no matter what your account is about. But he's like, yeah, and he made these two accounts. He's like, I started this one in 2019, that his the account from 2019 had 2.2 million, and he started another one in 2022 and posted the same videos. They were burner accounts. He did like the voiceover AI with just like the graphics, like a faceless channel, and he posted the same exact video to both of them, and the numbers on the account that started in 2019 had an engagement rate that was 40% above the one that started in 2022 over the same video.
Jeez.
So he's like, it's just weird. He's like, he thinks that they've set apart these untouchables or people that, since they've brought so much attention and money and viewers away from Instagram to TikTok, that they could basically do whatever they wanted and not get deleted. And then you see all these other accounts like yours that just poof, gone, and you didn't even do anything wrong.
And that right there is why this channel will get canceled.
Yeah.
We're
And that's the last episode we'll ever film.
Yeah, right?
Luckily, it's not going on TikTok. But
No,
I just think it's kind of interesting to look at it from that point. And personally, I found a little bit more success on Instagram because Reels have only been out for... Reels weren't even a thing until TikTok started blowing up.
Yep.
And then Instagram's like, we're losing a lot of people. We need
Well,
to do
and
some
I think maybe that's where you start finding some of your success too. Was, I mean, you had that TikTok platform that got stripped, and then did you start doing Reels and kind of just similar content but push it to your Instagram, and that's what kicked it off?
Yeah, I mean, I knew what worked on TikTok, and I mean, I lost like the majority of my videos, but I did have some saved, and so I was like, okay, I know this one did good. I know this one did good. I just started repurposing it with Reels on my Instagram. It's funny when I first started, like my family and friends were like, wait, what? Like, I didn't know this side of you. Like, what the heck is going on? And it was a little uncomfortable, and I was like, I don't care. Like,
yeah,
that's what I'm doing. And what's funny is like I'd post like the same video on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and sometimes like nothing would happen on TikTok, nothing would happen on YouTube, blow up on Instagram, and then same vice versa. I could do a different video, like it blows up on YouTube, nothing on TikTok, nothing on Instagram. So it's like you never truly know what will work and what won't, but like I have a pretty good idea of what will work, but there is like a sense of we'll see like how like what audience it gets pushed to first, depending on their reaction is going to depend if it goes more. But yeah, you just gotta keep putting content out there, and regardless of what happens, and just keep going.
So
keep going.
Can you share your secrets with us, maybe?
Dude,
Because coming from a guy who has a whopping 800 followers, remind you, I'm pretty damn successful already as it is. As you can tell, 800 followers is big, right? So how do I keep that going?
Yeah,
How do I get a
let's
follower
to
every
810.
month? Yeah,
let's
if I can get to
810.
810.
Yeah.
Wait, am I past that? I don't even know.
You can title this podcast "How to Get to 810 Followers."
Okay, yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot that goes into viral content. I mean, like I said, if you can spark some sort of controversy where people are going to engage, like engagement is everything. You need to give someone some reason to comment, to share, to send the video.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And so, like, it's funny. Like, I get these people who are like, "Hey, I'm trying to start a real estate channel, or I'm trying to start a podcast channel. I'm trying to do this, and they like deliver all this value, but you need to like work with the game of social media, which is social media is a dopamine kick. That's what everyone is getting on social media for. No one's getting on social media to learn. I mean, you can like tailor your Instagram to learn from social media, but you're not getting on it like, oh, I'm gonna go study today. Let's get on social media.
Yeah.
And so you need to find some way where when people are on, they are attracted, hooked to your content. I mean, everyone talks about how the first 3 seconds, like if you don't have them hooked in the first 3 seconds, like
It's over.
It's over. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you have to relate to them. You have to find something that will make someone like intrigued to get them to stay. And so like with these people are creating these content, they're like delivering value, they're talking, they're doing something, but they're not like playing the game of social media and giving that dopamine kick. So like you guys have seen my car dancing videos, right?
Yeah.
So that was never something I planned on doing. That was part of my uncomfortable 30, was dancing in my car, not caring about what people think. So for the audience that doesn't know, I pull up to stoplights, I turn my music up all the way, roll the windows down, and I just dance.
And do you just have your phone set up on some sort of tripod in the passenger seat?
Yeah, it's funny.
Oh
People
my
are always
gosh,
like,
no
what
way.
is going on?
He's doing it by
I have
himself, too.
I have a phone mount like to the glass across the window.
Gotcha.
And just have a phone there filming. So yeah, it's super like.
He's just twerking at a stoplight, man. He's just, and the people.
Bro, he
next
gets
to him
busy. He gets busy.
Yeah,
with
I
people.
next
My,
to him
the
go hard.
favorite one
I
I've
go
ever
hard.
seen is you pulled up. You weren't directly across from him, but he was kind of kitty corner, and then he started leaning his seat.
Oh
with
yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I was like,
yeah,
man, that's
my
cool.
signature move is I pull and I go back and I Yeah, go back and forth, and he started doing it.
Yeah, you started doing it too. That was my favorite one I've ever seen,
Yeah.
because I've seen a handful. I've seen you on the reels for like a few months, and
Cool.
that was the first one I'd seen where someone like super got into it with you and was
That's
like
awesome.
Yeah.
leaning his seat
Made
back
me
to the
so
beat and
happy.
stuff. But
Yeah, I mean, I get all these different reactions. I get people who like ignore me, people who dance with me, people who judge me. Like, I even have had like people that were in the video like DM me like, "Oh, you're such a tool," or something like it's crazy. I get it, all these different reactions. But where I'm going with this is, when people see this, it's something that people can relate to.
Right.
Like, everyone likes to sing and dance in the car, but when you pull up to a stoplight and someone's next to you, everyone stops. Like, you don't want people to look over and see you like jamming out. It's embarrassing. And so like, it's something that people relate to, like, oh, this is how I am in the car. But then it's also, they see other people's reaction and they're hooked of like, how are they going to respond? And it's like, they can almost relate to what I'm doing, and that's what like keeps them there. So
Like
it's
you
like,
put them in that moment almost.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so it's like, and it's like a combination of a lot of things. Like, people hear the song and like, oh, I like this song, or they see me going hard, like, what is this guy doing? This is crazy. They see the other person's reaction and they're like so curious how they're gonna react. And so it's just kind of like, it gives them that, it's the social media game. Like, they stay because they're curious of what's gonna happen, and they get kind of that dopamine kick by watching me make a fool out of myself in front of strangers.
See,
Yeah.
and that's an interesting approach and take, because I mean, I'm seeing a lot more like, respect to all the gurus out there that have a niche that are in a business platform, but I think one thing they lack is that hook, right? Because like you said, people don't go on to get informed. They don't really go online to be like, how am I going to wholesale real estate? Like no one really does that. You can go watch a YouTube video for that. So when it comes to reels, I feel like that's where a lot of people are failing, is putting the, other consumers in their shoes to where they can actually relate to the content. So
And something that's cool is you can look at people like, you guys know who Andy Elliott is?
oh yeah,
yeah.
So Andy Elliott is a great example of someone who created a social media around something that's kind of boring, sales, right? Like, no one wants to follow a sales guy, especially if you don't do sales.
Yeah.
But the way he does it, he plays the game. He's a different person. He has this personal brand. Like, he wears these tight shorts, this tight shirt.
It's an
Like,
ego.
yeah. Like, he creates a lot of controversy. Like, if you go to his comments, you get people who are like, you're the worst. You get people who say you're the best. And he's created this like personal brand of like, I don't care what people think. This is who I am. I'm different from everyone else. And he has created this like sales personal brand in his own image that like plays the game of social media, that like attracts people. Like, what is this? Like Liver King, for example.
yeah.
Like, created this personal brand of like different, like, that when people see him, they're like, who is this guy? Like, what is going on? So yeah, playing the game of social media is crucial.
Yeah, Andy's kind of been a master of creating controversy. Like, he'll have all these videos where he'll interview people, and he'll just walk up to him and straight up say, "Take your shirt off."
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And they'll be
your
like,
shirt off.
"What?
Crazy.
No." And then they'll eventually agree
"Are
to
you
take your
happy
shirt
with
off. He's
where
like,
you're at?"
"Are you
Yeah,
happy?
it's
Are you
crazy.
happy with what you look like?" No. So change it. And he just like dogs on him sitting there shirtless, but that's how he sparks that controversy, because you'll have someone say, "Man, that was motivating," or you'll have someone say, "Dude, that was messed up.
Yeah.
Like, why would you do
Yeah.
that?" But
man.
this is kind of unrelated, but I did want to ask you about TikTok. Do you get away with doing those stoplight things? Because I know TikTok went through this whole thing where they basically banned all of UMG's music. So can you still use the same? Because there's like a lot of sounds that
Yeah.
are just unavailable. So like, can you still use those, or how does that work? I was
Yeah,
curious.
I don't know the full terms and conditions. I probably should in terms of the whole music stuff, but I would say 1 in 15 videos randomly will just like be muted.
Yeah.
And then one thing is, you should never delete a TikTok. You should just archive it, like make it private. It hurts the algorithm if you just delete it. So I make it private, and then dude, it's crazy. Like, I just had it happen last week where I posted a video, it got muted, and then I like shortened the video. I like changed the audio a little bit. Like, instead of putting in music over it, I just did the sound from my car. So it was kind of like a little bit more muffled, not as crisp and clear. Uploaded it, and it was totally fine.
Weird.
Like, their system didn't catch that it was that song with like the not as good of quality song, and I made it a little bit shorter. So yeah, it happens every so often.
Yeah,
but-
because they did this whole Universal Music Group. Like, they took all of every artist that they have off of the platform, and it's like 80% of whatever the popular artist is right now. Like, you
Really?
can't use. There's no Taylor Swift. You can't use any rappers like Lil Baby, there's a lot of Lils, but Lil Durk. But anyways, any most of the popular artists, you can't even, that music's not even available on TikTok.
Yeah.
There's stuff that's like slowed and reverbed. There's stuff that people have altered to
Yeah.
make it not the actual original sound. But in terms of using a straight up original label song, they've taken that out. Like if I scrolled back years ago on mine, and there's at least 50 videos of mine that are muted.
Yeah.
Because I would use the trending sound and then make like one of those comedy skits to it. And every single one of those videos are muted. So I was just curious how you kind of worked around that, because TikTok's made it a little bit harder to try and do the stuff that you wanted.
Yeah, that's
Sorry, I
great.
just got really uncomfortable. I needed to take my shirt
So,
off.
are you content with the way you look?
Yeah, I'm good. No, it's funny. I've never done this before. But you know, here's the crazy
Dude,
thing.
I was not expecting that.
Are we all doing
I
this?
respect
Hold on.
that though.
Here's the crazy thing, okay? So we're sitting here. Bro, my heart's been beating for the past 20 minutes.
I
You're
feel like I
saying,
need to join you right now.
yeah, I feel like you should. But everyone's like talking about how you should get like uncomfortable, right? I got scared, and so my heart started beating. And I was like, "Fuck, I'm gonna take my shirt off." So,
You're like,
but here's the crazy thing. You know how
You're
good that just
still-
felt?
I've ever been shirtless on a podcast, but I'm about
Yeah,
it.
here's the crazy. You know how good that felt though? Like I just like in my head, I was like, you know what? Just do it.
Yeah,
Like I just pushed past that comfort zone. You know,
good.
that was crazy.
Good for you, bro.
Yeah, that's
I dig
crazy.
it, bro.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, back to the episode. Sorry guys, I just had to.
you were mustering up the strength to do that.
Yeah, no, I was sitting there for 5 minutes. I'll be honest, I wasn't listening to a thing you were saying. I was like, I need to take my shirt off, and so I just did. So now that I've done it, I'm gonna put it back on.
Okay.
But you're
I don't know
welcome.
how that'll affect the YouTube policies, but it should be fine.
No, it
The,
should
the
be
watch
good.
time is gonna end right then.
Yeah.
So you guys will like look at your
Here's the thing.
algorithm, the analytics, and it's just like everyone drops right there.
No nip slip isn't a bad idea.
It's all over TikTok. Can't be worse than that.
True. Sorry, just had to get that out of the way. But that felt
Dude, I'm
really good.
about it, bro.
Yeah.
Caught me off guard, but I'm like, let's freaking go. Let's do this.
I've never done that on an
Yeah.
episode, but anyway.
You made him even be like, okay.
Yeah, he's
go.
like, all right, bet, go off.
Dude, and what's sick though is like, dude, I love that you broke it down. It's like you felt that like, man, that would be uncomfortable, and your brain like,
Oh, yeah.
literally,
Just freaked out.
like it's in our nature. It's how like we were created is to avoid fear. Like our ancestors, like when they were facing like a hard situation, like there's a saber-toothed tiger in front of them, there's this fear that's like, you got to get away from this. But now we live in a world where like the discomfort we face is very different than our ancestors. And like taking off your shirt, there is no harm. There literally is nothing that could like go wrong.
Nothing
with doing
happened
it.
to me just now.
But your brain
Yeah.
is like, holy crap, this is gonna be horrible.
Yeah.
But you do it and it's like, all right.
Yeah,
Like
and
what just happened? Nothing.
I love how you just joined me on it. You were just like, all right, fuck it. Like, it's just like, it is what it is. Like, I don't know. We were just sitting here like this whole time.
He's like, I'm so inspired. I feel like I
w-
need to just.
I was. And honestly, like a lot of it was just like, I don't know what it was, but I was just like getting nervous about it. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, you know what? Based on what Cade's been prophesying, why don't you just do it? So anyway, thank y'all for bearing with me while I'm growing. But, you know.
He's just like in the middle of just like pouring his heart out, and you're like, all right, what's up?
Yeah, what's
We'll kind of wind down a little bit here, but I'm just curious. What's one thing that you're most grateful for that you've learned throughout the whole social media process, or I could say what defined where you're at right now?
I don't know. I don't know if I'd say like this is the thing that I'm most grateful for, but the first thing that came to my head just with us being on this topic is I'm grateful for the ability to not care about what people think. The moment you can stop caring what people think about you is the moment when life begins. Everyone has their goals and dreams in life, and everyone wants to achieve X, Y, Z. And so many people will never achieve what they want to achieve solely off of the fear of what people are going to think of them. No successful person in this life, whether it's in politics, athletics, and business, whatever, has gotten to where they've gotten inside the comfort zone, caring about what other people think of them. You have to be able to be confident in your own skin of like, this is who I am, this is what I'm going to do. People can say whatever the heck they want. I'm going to live the way I want to live. It makes me sad how many people go through life and get to the end of their life and they're like, I didn't live what I wanted to do. I didn't do what I wanted to do. And like for all the listeners and for you guys, I mean, we're young. There's so much to do in life. And if you go through life doing what people want you to do and caring what people think of you, you won't achieve what it is that you're truly trying to achieve. So like, I'm just very grateful for the things I've done in my life and not caring what people say about it.
Yeah, and it's important to go after what you want, because something I've said to myself a few times is I'm terrified of, just in a hypothetical situation, if I was presented with a better version of myself. So if when you look back, when you get older, if just in a scenario, whether it's in a dream or something, but a figure approaches you and then you're like, well, who's that? And then the other guy's like, oh, I'm what you could have been if you tried a little bit harder. And that's something that honestly scares me. I know it's just a hypothetical situation, but that's why I think it's important to, like you said, no matter what it is, no matter what you're facing, no matter what you're scared of, you have to push through that barrier somehow. And you're going to regret not doing it if you don't get over those hurdles and those obstacles. But something that we like to do towards the end of the show is we have 2 questions. The first one is, who is your hero? And the second one is, if you could give one piece of advice to somebody watching to make their life overall happier, or something that's helped you, what would that be?
It's good. Good question. Who's my hero? These people, I mean, I've got people like that I look up to that I've never met that have had great influence in my life.
No, I'll preface this really quick. The most popular answer, and it's a great answer, is mom or dad, but we're going to say hero outside of mom or dad.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say my dad, but is it all right if I say my brother?
You can say that.
All right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's your hero. It's not ours.
It is your hero. We just like to switch it up a little bit because it's an amazing answer, and my parents are my hero too, but it's nice to see a different view.
Yeah. I'll say my brother. He's 2 years older than me, and I've looked up to him my entire life. Everything that he did, I wanted to do. Like every sport, every activity, everything that he did, I was like, I'm doing it. He's the reason why I am where I am in my career, like why I got into business and why I do the things that I do. He's just got such a great mindset of discipline, doing things, working hard, and has built such an awesome career for him and his family. And I've just looked up to him so much in every aspect, and am grateful for the things that he's taught me and for the example he has set for me to ultimately be who I am.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's awesome. That's way cool.
And then one piece of advice you could give to a viewer that you personally experienced and something that made your life better and happier.
Yeah, my one piece of advice, I think sometimes when people see my content, they're like, they think I'm like some superhuman, or like that I'm different, or I was born different, and that there's something different about me and that they can never do it. When in reality, like, I'm just a normal person. Like, I feel discomfort the same way you do. I have a brain just like you. These hormones that happen inside when you feel fear, it's the exact same for me as it is for you. And so what I do is not something that was like given to me. It's something that I earned and something that everybody is capable of doing. I don't care what your fear is, you can overcome it.
Take your shirt off. It's true.
And when people come to me and I want to get out of my comfort zone, what do? I always recommend that you start with something super small. Like if you are scared to talk to people, go and just say hi to a stranger. Literally just say hi. If you're scared like to go to the gym, or you want to change your physical life, it's like, go do 10 push-ups a day. That's it. Like, just start super small, because then you'll realize, okay, this wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. And then the next time it's like, okay, it's a little bit easier, a little bit easier, a little bit easier. It's like you guys are on your 18th podcast now?
Mm-hmm.
Something like that.
17th or...
Can't remember. I've lost track, but somewhere in there.
But I bet like each podcast, it gets a little bit easier, where it's like not as scary, right? So it's like, if you can just get out of your comfort zone in any aspect, as small as it can be, like, it will help you so much. So I don't know if you guys know, I actually have like a wellness guide in my bio.
No, I didn't know that.
So it's 7 tips, super easy tips of every aspect of life, like physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, like every aspect of life. It's just a super small tip that everyone can do. And so like if someone is wanting to change their life and they don't know where to start, it's like start super simple. If they want to go to the link in my bio, they can. Like it's totally free. There's no strings attached. It's a totally free guide to help people get started with doing the smallest thing to get out of their comfort zone, because there's no growth that will ever happen inside the comfort zone.
True.
You will not get to where you want to be if you live inside that comfort zone.
And moving into that, so this is now your chance where we can actually plug anything you want here. So obviously he said go visit the link in his bio for any, what you call it, wellness tips.
Well, yeah, wellness guy, yeah.
But
wellness
anything you
guide,
want
so-
in the description of this video, anything you want to shout out outside of your account.
This is your time.
This is your shout out.
Yeah.
All right, well, I mean, that was basically it. Yeah, my social media, I would say my main social media is Instagram probably, Kade_Peterson, and in the in my bio I have that wellness guide. Like I've mentioned, my ultimate desire is to help people to be the best versions of themselves, and that's why I created it. There's 7 tips that I've applied in my life that have like totally changed my life. Like I'll just give you one example. For the spirituality tip, I talk about doing nothing. Like sit and do nothing. Don't listen to music. Don't read. Like just sit at like a table like this and like do nothing. So I did this for an hour. It's one of my harder challenges, believe it or not. I stared at a dot on I was sitting in a chair and I just did nothing for an hour. And I realized like how much we all rely on stimulation and how we constantly are just doing stuff at all hours of the day, but we don't give ourselves time to think. And so doing nothing like has changed my life, believe it or not. And so it's like a super small tip that someone can do to tap into their inner self and understand more about who they are. You can get inspiration and figure out like what you need to change in your life just by stepping away from life and just doing nothing.
Wow.
Oh,
That's
that's
cool.
awesome. And we thank you for coming on the podcast. We appreciated having you on here. And thank you to Patriot Tire for sponsoring this episode. If you guys do enjoy the videos, make sure to like and subscribe. And
Make sure to hate.
Make sure to hate.
Yeah, make sure
leave
to
us
hate.
leave us
100%.
a bunch of hate. But no, that was awesome. We really appreciate Kade for coming on here and talking to us. And we'll see you guys in the next episode. Take it easy.
You know I got it. I pull up, I come around, make my rounds, it's my town. Like, you know I got it. Hey, when I'm round, they now. What's up now? This touchdown. Like,